Everybody has been roasting the Mandalorian for the past 2 weeks. One, last week's episode, I believe it was, connected to the First Order, which nobody wants to see, but that's where they're going. Spoiler, that's where they were always going. They were never going to erase the sequel trilogy. That isn't, nor will it ever happen. But everyone's been roasting the Mandalorian, especially this week with this episode right here where Baby Grogu does a flip. They literally reverse flip the character. You can see it right here. Then they just reverse it. It looks awful. By the way, did you know that it costs $15 million an episode for this show? Just saying, it's bad. So this show isn't doing very well, at least this season. It did well before, but I think just a lot of people are done with Star Wars. They've put out so much shitty content. They've put out a lot of bad content. Andor's ratings speak for itself, and the Mandalorian's ratings also speak for itself. Now, the reason that the Mandalorian's ratings are so alarming is because this was their flagship show. This was supposed to be what saved Star Wars. This is going to put Star Wars back on the map, and that's not what's happening with this show. It's not. The show is a huge disappointment now, and people are tuning out. And if anything, Andor, which was praised, a lot of people liked Andor, actually. At least a couple of people that I talked to liked it, even though no one watched it. The ratings for that show were awful. Dead character, too, by the way. That probably didn't help the ratings. The fact that character dies in Rogue One. So, Star Wars is taking a hit. I would be willing to place some money down on a bet that the merchandise is also not performing very well. You also had the lowest rated episode ever for the series. Episode 3 was not very well received. That's due to its first order origins. People don't want to hear about the First Order. Personally excited for them to start diving into that lore because nobody gives a shit about it, and we're going to see the ratings for this show tank even more. You have to wonder what's going on with them. Look what it took to get rid of Victoria Alonso. What do you think it's going to take to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy? Because she's a step up. She runs the whole damn company. So that'll be interesting. I think the Indiana Jones flop might do it. We'll see. But one thing we won't see, finally, at least according to this website, Small Screen, which I've never heard of. I'm not trying to shit on them, but I've never heard of them. So take this with a little bit of a grain of salt. However, there's been no movement on this for so long. I tend to believe that this probably is true. And that's, of course, that the Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy is apparently officially scrapped by Disney, though they're never going to announce it. You know why they're never going to announce this and make this a public thing? They're just going to keep dodging questions about it. Because of the fact that Disney is butthurt that nobody likes The Last Jedi. Fans hate it so much. It's like a pride thing. They don't want to admit they were wrong. So, them doubling down on Rian Johnson like they did in the first place, saying he's going to get his own trilogy, was kind of like a coat. So, apparently, this is gone. In good riddance. The whole pitch for this was stupid. I remember in interviews, he's like, yeah, I went and talked to Kathy, and I said, listen, I got an idea for Star Wars. What do you think about doing it in another galaxy? Genius. Awesome. Amazing. So basically a science fiction movie with the name Star Wars on it. Because if it's in another galaxy, why would it have anything to do with the stuff going on? It would be almost indistinguishable from what Star Wars is then. Kind of like Last Jedi. So I guess it works out for him. That movie damaged. I don't think that movie damaged this fan base. First off, it split it in two, and both sides fought with each other. It ruined It ruined everything because the corporation took the side of the fans that liked this movie and alienated the ones that didn't. Tried their best to run them off, actually. Called them sexist and racist. You know, a lot of people that bounced out then and never came back. And then you lost the ones you kept around with such poor, shitty products that I just don't know if you can save Star Wars. Star Wars at least needs like a 10 to 5 year break. It needs a long break so people can get the bad tastes out of their mouth. But here's what they're saying. So this is their scoop. Johnson Star Wars trilogy has been scrapped by Lucasfilm. According to our sources, it looks like Disney and Lucasfilm have decided to pull the plug on Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy. This shouldn't come as much of a surprise, mainly because there has been so little movement on the trilogy for a while now. I agree with that. They've barely talked about it once in a while. Rian Johnson or Rian Johnson, or however you say his name, would jump up and say, yes, well, we're still working on it. That's it. The last I've heard, Disney has given Johnson's trilogy the axe, said an insider about his trilogy. They went on to add the following. It's been problematic for Disney and Lucasfilm as they love Johnson and his work, but they just cannot get past the fans' poor reaction to The Last Jedi. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. The fan base hates that movie. At least a large portion of the fan base hates that movie. You can't get past it. That movie, what a way to like rub salt in the wound of Star Wars by giving this clown a trilogy. That's exactly what it would do. And I think that maybe they recognize that. I would say maybe because, I mean, all the signs and stuff that they've done in the past so far have shown they don't give a shit about the brand at all. They want to use it as a podium to spew their bullshit. And that's just not what people are looking for in a product. This is why Marvel's in the toilet now. And this is why Star Wars has been in the toilet. The difference is Marvel seems to be doing a course correction now finally. Makes me, what is it going to take for Lucasfilm to do a course correction? You need to get rid of that story group. You need to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. You need to get rid of a lot of people there. This is a start. This is something. We'll see. By the way, I would totally expect Rian Johnson to now publicly come out and say that he's still doing the trilogy, and we'll get the same old song and dance. Until there's an official statement, I would take this with a grain of salt. But either way, like, just because they don't say it's canceled doesn't mean it isn't. The fact that we haven't seen any movement on this since The Last Jedi should tell you it's canceled. But some people, like, all he has to do is say that he's making the movie. There'll be 5,000 articles because the media loves to suck this guy off because they hate you. And the fact that you don't like him or his movie makes the media like him because they hate you. So they constantly want to prop him up and remind you that he's still there. This is why these people are all losing their jobs and their industry is dying because nobody likes a media that hates them. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace! Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.